Welcome to today's show. Have you ever imagined how a navigator full of courage and adventurous spirit changed the course of history of the whole world? In this gripping story, we will look back at the end of the 15th century. That feat of Italian navigator Christopher Columbus opened a new chapter on the world map. You will see how he overcame many difficulties, braved the Atlantic Ocean, and led his crew into unknown lands. On this adventure tour, you'll see first contact with Aboriginal people, the strange scenery of the New World, and the thrilling moments in the subsequent voyage. This is a story full of struggle, bravery, and exploration, which will let you know this famous navigator in history again. Are you ready? Bring your imagination and take the Columbus fleet together. Sail to the unknown Atlantic Ocean and explore the secrets of the New World. Now, let us start this thrilling historical journey. In 15th century Genoa, Italy, a boy named Christopher Columbus was born into a family of sailors and merchants. Columbus's father was a Genoan wool merchant named Domenico Columbus. As a businessman, he engaged in wool trading, which gave him a wealth of experience and knowledge about commerce and trade. His business background also influenced the young Columbus, laying the foundation for his future exploration career. Columbus's mother was named Susanna, who came from a family with a maritime background. This exposed Columbus to maritime knowledge and skills as he grew up. From a young age, he was instilled with a passion and longing for sailing by his mother, and he learned many stories and legends about seafaring from her. The backgrounds of both parents provided Columbus with a rich environment, fostering his interest in both sailing and commerce. The blending of his father's business acumen and his mother's maritime background laid the foundation for his future nautical career. From a young age, Columbus was influenced by the family atmosphere and the passion of the surrounding environment, and was filled with curiosity about distant and mysterious lands. He longed to become a courageous sailor, exploring the unknown world. Columbus learned navigation, geography, and astronomy at home and school. His enthusiasm and talent made him an excellent maritime apprentice. As Columbus matured, he began to take a keen interest in finding a new route to the east. He was aware that the traditional Silk Road was under the control of the Turkish Ottoman Empire, posing a significant threat to European nations. He believed that finding a new route would give Europe a trading advantage and promote the development of civilization. This dream was the direction towards which Columbus dedicated his life. After Columbus determined to find a new route to the east, he began to actively seek funding and support. This process was not easy, and Columbus spent many years persuading the royal families and nobles of various countries. Initially, he tried to seek assistance from King Joseph I of Portugal, but was unsuccessful. Subsequently, he turned to other countries, including England and France, but also failed to reach an agreement. During this difficult process, Columbus corresponded with the renowned geographer Paolo Toscanelli in 1474. Toscanelli proposed a surprising view. He believed that the Earth was much smaller than generally accepted. This reinforced Columbus's belief in the feasibility of his sailing plan, and he continued to seek active support. Finally, in 1492, Columbus received the support of King Ferdinand II and Queen Isabella I of Spain. They were willing to provide funding for Columbus's voyage and granted him the authority to govern any newly discovered lands. After many years of hard work and persistence, Columbus finally got the opportunity to realize his dream. On the night of August 3, 1492, Columbus led a fleet composed of 3 sailing ships and 90 crew members. They set sail from the port of Palos in Spain, embarking on a historic voyage. His flagship was the large carrack, the Santa Maria. The other 2 were small caravels, the Pinta and the Nina. The captains of the Pinta and the Nina were the Pinzon brothers, Martin Alonso Pinzon and Vicente Yanez Pinzon, respectively, both from Palos. Columbus led the fleet away from Spain. Along the way, they stopped at the Canary Islands to repair the Pinta. On September 6, the fleet bravely ventured into the Atlantic. The voyage was smooth and swift. To appease the crew's emotions, Columbus recorded two sets of distances, one true and one deceptive. One was the actual, and the other was what he told his crew. This was because Columbus was worried that if the crew knew the true distance they had traveled from home, it might lead to panic or even mutiny. Therefore, the mileage he gave to the crew was always less than the actual. This was a psychological tactic, aimed at maintaining the morale and confidence of the crew, making them believe that they were not far from their destination, thus achieving steady navigation and successful maritime exploration. After a lengthy 70-day voyage, finally, on the morning of October 12, 1492, Juan de la Cosa, a sailor on the Pinta, was the first to spot land. The captain subsequently confirmed the existence of this land, but Columbus insisted that he had seen the light of fire before this. This voyage opened the doors to the New World, unveiling a period of history filled with exploration and discovery. Their destination was the Lucayan archipelago in the Americas. The local inhabitants, the Lucayans, were friendly and warm. These people were still in the Neolithic age. Columbus revealed his perspective on these people in his diary, believing that they had no faith, and intended to enslave them with Christianity. Columbus's fleet continued their journey, exploring the northeast coast of what is now Cuba. Around Christmas Day, their flagship, the Santa Maria, ran aground and sank. Fortunately, the local chieftain sent people to rescue them and allowed Columbus to leave 39 crew members to establish a foothold. This foothold was named Navidad, and it is located in what is now Mole St. Nicholas, Haiti. In 1493, Columbus made his final stop on his first voyage to America. They landed on the Samoma Peninsula, where they encountered the first hostile treatment in the Americas. Columbus therefore called the place where he met these indigenous people the Bay of Arrows. Afterwards, Columbus finally embarked on his return journey to Spain, carrying with him several indigenous people who had been forcibly taken. Bringing back indigenous inhabitants was a direct proof that he had discovered a new land and encountered a new race of people there. This could validate his maritime achievements and strengthen his chances of obtaining more support and resources for subsequent voyages. Also, Europeans of the time often regarded indigenous inhabitants of the New World as slaves. This notion stemmed from ignorance and contempt for the culture of the indigenous inhabitants of the New World, as well as the social and economic environment in Europe at the time. Lastly, Columbus and many other explorers were devout Catholics, and they hoped to spread Catholicism in the New World. They might have hoped to bring indigenous inhabitants of the New World back to Europe, educate them and baptize them, and then send them back to the New World to spread the faith. However, on the night of February 22, when Columbus was finally on his return journey to Spain, a storm struck and the two ships were separated in the storm. On February 19, 1493, the Nina, where Columbus was located, finally returned to the European mainland. After being received by the King of Portugal, John II, Columbus left Lisbon on March 13 to return to Spain. This was a journey that changed the world, a journey that showcased the human spirit of adventure and exploration of the unknown. Columbus and his fleet cast their courage and determination into a part of history. Their story has inspired countless explorers to bravely embark on unknown journeys. Columbus's second voyage began on September 25, 1493. He led approximately 1,500 people on 17 ships departing from Cadiz. On November 3, they discovered the island of Dominica, followed by the discoveries of Guadeloupe and Puerto Rico. Upon arriving at Hispaniola, they found that Fort Navidad had been razed by local Indians, so they established Fort Isabella, creating the first Spanish colony in America. The indigenous people were subjected to heavy taxes on gold, driven to work as slaves in gold mines, or captured and sold back in Europe. Then, on May 30, 1498, Columbus began his third voyage, leading a fleet of 6 ships and 200 people from Sanlúcar. 3 of the ships headed directly to Hispaniola, while Columbus personally led the other 3 ships on a journey west via the Cape Verde Islands. On August 1st, they discovered the island of Trinidad. On August 5th, they landed on the Paria Peninsula in Venezuela, setting foot on the South American continent for the first time. Under Columbus's rule, the indigenous population of the New World suffered many injustices, and his management style also sparked dissatisfaction and protests among the locals. In addition, the wealth discovered by Columbus during his maritime explorations also sparked jealousy and competition among other nobles and explorers. Due to internal strife and political struggles, Columbus's adversaries pressured the king's emissaries, accusing him of mismanagement and abuse of power. Columbus was dismissed from all his posts by the king's emissaries for poor management, his properties were confiscated, and he was forcibly returned to Spain. Although Columbus was later released, he lost the power to govern the lands he had discovered. On May 9, 1502, Columbus began his 4th and final voyage. He led 4 ships and about 150 people from Cadiz, heading west along the southern coast of Hispaniola. They crossed Jamaica and proceeded to Central America, then sailed south along Honduras. After crossing Nicaragua and Costa Rica, they finally reached the Darien Bay in Panama. In June 1503, they turned back to Jamaica, where they experienced a lunar eclipse on March 1, 1504. These voyages brought about the discovery of the New World, but also brought conflict and looting, prompting us to reassess this period in history. Columbus departed from this world in 1506, leaving behind a nautical journey that changed the course of world history. His bravery and determination initiated the Age of Discovery, opening a new window for the world. He linked the worlds of Europe and America, shaping the world we live in today. However, while we praise his spirit of adventure and courage to explore the unknown, we must also recognize the impacts of his actions. His nautical feats not only had profound effects on the indigenous people but also caused environmental destruction. His arrival led to a significant decrease in the indigenous population, the destruction of ecosystems, and the loss of cultures. The story of Columbus is one of adventure, exploration, and innovation, but also one of power, conflict, and suffering. His life demonstrates both the greatness and weaknesses of humanity, and reflects how complex and diverse our history is. While celebrating his achievements, we must also confront the impacts of his actions and learn from them. At this moment, let's commemorate this great navigator and ponder the insights his life brings us. This is our mission. On this channel, we strive to reveal the true face of the world, allowing people to understand our history, our world, and ourselves more deeply.